Okay, everybody. Welcome to this week's library webinar about evaluating resources. We're calling it CRAAP Detection, which actually stands for something, but yeah, a good way to describe how to evaluate resources, how to sift the rubbish from the reliable resources you find when doing your assignments. So basically, welcome everyone today. My name is Rachel. I'm an academic support librarian at the University Library. To start off, we just want to acknowledge and pay our respects to the Kaurna people, the traditional custodians whose ancestral lands we gather on, and we respect and value their past, present, and ongoing connection to the land and cultural beliefs. So like I said, yes, today's webinar is CRAAP Detection, Evaluating Resources. So today's session, we're going to cover what's called the CRAAP Test. I'll tell you what that stands for and how to apply it in sources that you find. We're also going to do a brief bit at the end on how to read critically. So once you've evaluated your resources, then how to read them to get the most out of the information to save you time as well. And then just a brief overview of our library resources that we have in this space on evaluating resources. So just some housekeeping before we start. This webinar will be recorded and it will live on our YouTube channel. The University of Adelaide Library has a YouTube channel. You can see here, just go to it. We've created a playlist of our webinars for students. You can also access from the homepage as well. We're quite far, long way into the semester now, so there's quite a few different topics there. Great literature referencing some on generative AI, handy searching, library search and other databases. So this session today really builds on that, and those are all there for you to view as well. So basically, the CRAAP test, we're going to step back a little bit now and basically tell you a little bit about evaluating resources. So as you search through various databases, search engines and tools, you'll gather numerous resources that seem relevant to your topic. The next step before you actually use them in an assignment or a research piece is to critically assess and evaluate them. So in reviewing sources, you consider the following things. You might know about this already: the authority, who's authoring it, the impact they have, the significance and contribution to the field of research, any limitations, biases or misinformation, and most importantly as well for you guys is suitability for purpose. So really you can find lots and lots of research, but it really has to be suitable for your particular research need. It has to be directly helping you answer your essay or assignment question. Is it the right type of data? Is it from the right kind of places? That kind of thing as well. So searching for resources is an iterative process. It's always changing. You might change direction, might refine your topic. And basically there are several frameworks you can use to do this. One of the most well-known is the CRAAP test, which we will go through today. There are also others you may have heard of. There's always kind of universities or researchers out there trying to improve on the original CRAAP test. So one that you might see is the prompt model and also the track test. Feel free to Google these. All these kind of models fundamentally cover the same kind of ideas, same kind of prompts for helping to evaluate. But basically the CRAAP test is the original, maybe the best, the most fun to say. So basically all these CRAAP test things you can see. So basically CRAAP stands for currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose. Generally, whatever resource you're looking at, you're going to want to assess each of these criteria, but some criteria may be more important than others depending on the type of assignment you're doing and the type of resources you're looking at. So you basically apply the CRAAP test to determine whether the information sources you locate are reliable and suitable for your project. And these principles also apply beyond a scholarly context as well. So the CRAAP test is something really good to keep in the back of your mind. Even when you're browsing online, fake news obviously is a really big thing these days. And the CRAAP test is really something you can do those types of resources as well. So fake news, obviously those kind of fictional stories, they might sound truthful, they might be exaggerated, basically made up to support certain agendas. Being really critical of these, even if they come from like an institution or an authority you think is reliable, you can never take it for granted. So there might be those types of resources, fake news or otherwise, they might be created to support a certain political viewpoint, drive greater engagement or profits, influence opinions, target a certain audience to think a particular way. It might just be a lack of quality standards and ethics in the journalism or authorship or otherwise. And basically fake news, lack of rigor in publications or resources exists in a wider ecosystem of misinformation. And these issues can affect all different types of sources you engage with as well. And it even applies to searching a database, even library search to find a report or an article for your assignment. Everything 99% of the time should be good to use, but it can be easy to be too trusting of search results. The reality is that sometimes poor quality or fabricated research can even slip through the peer review process and end up in published journals. So for any undergraduates watching who are not familiar with academic publishing, if you find a journal article for your research in library search, generally peer reviewed means that trusted journal outlets will basically get a couple of academics or 2 or 3 academics to proofread another academic's work to make sure it's got that rigor and that quality before it then gets published. And all these people will be active in the field, so you can they have a really good oversight of the trends and the ideas and the theories that are current in that discipline. And so then you can then trust that article should be safe for you to use. But even then, predatory journals are a major issue within the academic publishing industry. Basically, these are journals that they're scam. They'll try to get money. Publishing costs money, and they'll try to get money out of academics, and they won't go through the peer review process that rigorously. So basically, in summary, the CRAAP test is really, really good. Any type of resource that you're looking for, if you're not 100% sure if it's quality, to apply these types of rules. So that's a little bit of overview of the kind of space that we're working in today. So now I'm going to go through the CRAAP test in a bit more detail, basically kind of going through each of the criteria. So currency, pretty straightforward, refers to how up-to-date the resource information is. When was it published? Has it been revised and updated? So basically some fields it's a bit different, but generally in fields where research is changing all the time, saying like IT, computer studies and things like that, reading an article that's 5 years old, the information might have been good at the time, but it's out of date. So it's not showing you the latest information. Kind of health, other areas like that as well. You want to be looking for the most up-to-date research. Relevance refers to how well the source meets your information needs. You should only use information that addresses your topic. Again, this is more evaluating how you're going to use the resource. So you might find a really, really rigorous, high-quality peer-reviewed article, and if it's got nothing to do with your research question, and you're just going to put it in your essay for the sake of it, then maybe step back, rethink, refine your search to find something else. Authority refers to those responsible for the source. So authors, publishers, sponsors, and their credentials, expertise, and affiliations. So in this sense, yes, the author is a big part, but you also need to think about the publishing outlet, the affiliations they have, if an article is pushing a political agenda, anything just beyond the realm of the author, you need to be aware of all that kind of stuff as well. Accuracy refers to the supporting evidence in the resource, data, details, citations, and verification from other resources. So more popular resources might not have like a list of references at the end, like a news article you might get from like a popular media website. Basically, the more scholarly something is, the longer the list of references it will have. You have to reference in your assignments yourself, academic integrity, being able to chase for someone to look up where you've got your research from. That also applies to research you're using as well. And it's something that you should evaluate when you go to choose a resource. Can you tell clearly where that researcher got their research from? And purpose refers to the reasons information has been created, whether it has been produced to promote and advertise a certain opinion or point of view, and whether it contains any biases. So this is a really important one. Bias can be quite subtle sometimes. You might not think it's there, but it is. Generally, journal articles, scholarly research tries to be free of bias, but you never can tell. Some might creep in. Obviously, more popular resources, this is something to look at in a bit more detail as well. So yes, that is what CRAAP stands for. What we're going to do now is I have found a source. Rani's going to put a link to this resource in the chat. And basically, this is an article from a website called the Children's Health Defense. And it is an article that is discussing artificial sweeteners and whether they're linked to obesity and diabetes. So basically, it's saying that it's written by Dr. Joseph McCullough. So when you're looking at a source like this, you should look at the website itself, the author, do a bit of research. This one's interesting. It does link to some other research, so you can follow the kind of other sources this Dr. Joseph McCullough has looked at to come to these conclusions. It gives a summary. You can see here links to some studies about the topic. So basically, you can just have a scroll looking through this article. You can see down, basically, just take a few moments yourself just to see, based on what I've said about the CRAAP test, how you would kind of evaluate this source. Do you think it would be good to use in a research essay or assignment that's focusing on this topic, or would you go and look for something else? So it's fairly long. You can see here it has quite long quotes from other resources. If we scroll down here, you can see that it was originally published on another website, so that might be a lead to go and see what's on that website. And let's go a disclaimer here as well. Okay, this source does not pass the CRAAP test. So I'll just go through each of the criteria applied to this source. Okay, so the CRAAP test, criteria 1, currency. The article was written in the last 2 years, so this type of discipline, you could say that yes, the findings are generally current. The relevance, if you can see on the slide before, I did put a question up that says, what are the potential health effects of consuming artificial sweeteners? That's the research question, hypothetically, that you're writing an essay about. You could make the argument that yes, it's relevant to the research topic. It is on that topic, but you'd need to read a lot more to gain a better understanding of the current research landscape, and also read some scholarly articles as well. Authority. This is where it gets a bit interesting. So the author claims specialist knowledge by using the doctor title very clearly in the author byline. And the article was originally published on McCullough, which is a website owned by the author. So not like an academic scholarly database that's with articles on it picked by specialists. So the publisher, the Children's Health Defence, the website where this particular version of the article appears, is a non-profit activist group known for spreading health misinformation. I found that information out by doing a quick Google search and reading some reliable sources about that publishing company. And Google search actually reveals the author does not have a medical degree and is not an active researcher. It was natural medicine. So whether or not he has the credential and whether or not he's active in the field, practicing as a doctor or as an academic in the health profession, is a bit sketchy. We don't really know. So on that point, it would be debatable whether the article passes the authority in the CRAAP test. In terms of accuracy, it does cover a wide variety of points. It uses some reliable research. So if you went through and pressed the hyperlinks that you didn't have time, it does link out to legitimate research, but it cherry picks statistics as well. I did a quite close analysis of this, and it also does not use peer-reviewed resources as well, and uses research out of context. And then my final point here was it makes unsubstantiated claims outside of specialist knowledge area as well. So I think that I was referring to something he said down the bottom. He was using quite a very long quotes from papers. Like you can see here, it's very, very, very long quotes. And you can obviously see that perhaps the kind of rigor and analysis you're looking for is just not there. And given that he's not actually medically trained doctor, there'd be quite a bit of the information he provides in there that would be outside of his area of expertise. Okay, and the final point is purpose. Obviously, the purpose here is to educate about the risks of artificial sweeteners, but it needs reading in the context of other publications by the author and the outlet, and the organisation and publisher does have a strong biases and track record of misinformation. So doing that extra contextual research about the origins of an article, not just the author, but the context in which it's been published is really important as well. So in summary, this gets a thumbs down. It does not pass the CRAAP test. But I suppose if you found it online, it could be a good starting point for then being like, okay, these are some of the areas, this isn't true, this isn't reliable, but where can I then find other more reliable research on the particular things that this article was mentioning? And that place is library search. So you can see here very quickly, I've just done this is just a screenshot of a library search I've done. I've created a search string that specifically looks for artificial sweeteners and risks and health effects. And straight away here, you can see There is 3 articles here. Library search handily tells you if something's been peer reviewed or not. And you can see here, you could obviously evaluate these still, but these 3 articles are a lot more reliable and probably easier to find as well than searching Google, scrolling for a long time, not being sure if you can trust a resource or not. Now you can see that I have used a search string here. Webinars previous in the semester have covered how to use search strings and how to use library search most effectively, and also how to use the filters down the side here. So I'm not going to cover them in this session because we don't have that much time. But if you want to go back and watch previous webinar, I'll show you, they show you how to use library search to best effect, like in this screenshot I've showed you here. I'm just going to briefly move on to reading critically. So one of the criteria in the CRAAP test was also to confirm relevance. This is kind of branching off of that. So once you've found resources, you've assessed them, they're suitable for your research, there's a few tips and tricks you can do to make sure you read them most effectively, get the most out of them, but also most quickly, and be able to integrate their findings into your research as well. So basically tip 1 is you first, when you find an article, you're like, yeah, I want to use this, basically double check. So read to confirm relevance. So read the details before downloading or borrowing. So on library search, just check the holdings page, subjects, table of contents, quick look at the author. You can look at a bit more detail, say a blurb's great, introductions to chapters and abstracts or summaries of journal articles. So don't think you have to go in reading the whole thing to be able to confirm its relevance. Just check those key areas. Then if you think, yes, this is still good, then you can go on to step 2, which is reading for a deeper understanding, which is unfortunately or fortunately, if you love research, reading the entire resource, identifying relevant sections, rereading relevant sections, and perhaps even taking notes while you read. Although our main point there, especially with ebooks, it can be tempting to just copy and paste key bits and pieces and assemble them into like a rough draft working document. It's best to avoid copying and pasting notes because then you can lose track of what words are your own, what words you've copied and pasted if you're not doing the referencing at the same time, and it can lead to accidental plagiarism. So whatever note-taking kind of method you use, just be keeping that in mind when you do it. But yeah, taking notes in that active way and that active reading is a really big plus when you're trying to go through all that research for your assignments as well. We have self-paced training for students, and staff can look at it as well. Our Library Essentials 1 course and also 2. So I just went too fast there. If you go from the library homepage, scroll down to students and then press services for students, and then training. You can see we have our Library Essentials 1 and Library Essentials 2 courses. Both of these courses have entire modules on how to evaluate resources, and also go through some of those different tests. I talked about the prompt test, CRAAP test, and those kinds of things. If the CRAAP test isn't up your alley, you can try one of the other models. Those courses go into a lot more detail about what I've discussed today. So if you're interested in knowing more, I really suggest looking at those. For further training, if you're a postgraduate researcher and you're looking to evaluate resources in a lot more of an advanced way, we do have Introduction to Advanced Searching and Systematic Review Fundamentals. Systematic Review Fundamentals especially looks at in more detail criteria for how to evaluate resources at that really high level research level as well. We also have a range of how to I guides as well for how to search databases and how to evaluate resources. So if I just go back to the home page, you can just scroll down, you find those there. So basically using data, how to reference and manage, how to find information, develop essential skills as well. So we have an evaluate resources, LibGuide 2. Yeah, lots of kind of things to look at there as well. And also referencing support as well and our referencing guides. Obviously, if you want to stay on top of the academic integrity and checking where you're getting your information from. We are getting to the end bit of semester, but we still have some webinars to go. So next week we have evaluating Gen AI outputs. So this will be a really great session because it's applying what we've talked about today, but just the generative AI. My colleague Lana is working on that at the moment. It should be a really good session. Then we have a repeat of referencing essentials just before you, bit of a break over mid-semester break, but then when you get into your final assignments, recap and referencing might be helpful. And then we also have another session on managing your referencing as well. So on a referencing software system called EndNote, so how to keep track, especially in our later undergraduate honours and beyond when you have a lot of references to look at. So we really hope to see you there. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you coming, and have a great day.